Hi and welcome. It's Peg, and today I am working on some more of the Birgit Coopson challenge for the month of October. What is this? September. Good grief. Not October yet. But I've been creating an awful lot of gel prints, and as I go through the process of creating these, I'm thinking, well, what am I going to do with all of these prints? So one of the first things that comes to mind is making some greeting cards. So these are prints that I've done so far throughout the month that um, are just getting turned into greeting cards because, you do 30 days of printing, you end up with a lot of paper. So I'm just mounting some of these pieces that I've cut into rectangles onto some backer card and then adding it to the cardstock, and then I'll start embellishing it. Now, if you're not interested in the card making aspect of this, you can forward ahead to 3.5 minutes, and that's where I will show what I've done for the last 2 days, because I thought they were a little more interesting than some of the others that I've been doing. I'm not videotaping all of the gel printing I'm doing for the month. As you can see, I've accumulated a lot of prints already, but the prompt for yarn, I wasn't even sure I was going to do. And then I thought, oh, well, what do I want to do with that? And it was the middle of the night. I wasn't sleeping. I decided to go downstairs and create something. So, yarn and vegetable, those are kind of different for, how are you going to handle that on a gel plate? A lot of people look at that and say, oh, I'm not sure. For the vegetable, I've seen people cut up vegetables, stalk of celery, an onion, that sort of thing, and use it as like a stamp on the gel plate. I've seen people draw things out, because we've already done that this month. You could very easily trace an image. So, there are a lot of things that you can do with these. You just have to use your imagination. So I've got these skeletal leaves that have been part of my stash for a very, very, very long time. And I'm just going to use some of those as embellishments on the fronts of these cards. Now, these are just simple cards. They could be, any kind of sentiment card depending on what you're putting inside. You can add a sentiment to the cover, or they can just be a note card, or, suppose you want some cards to give as gifts. We've got the holidays coming, guys, so you might want some of those just as gifts. So this makes a nice stash that you can go to do something like that with. So now you see me moving on, and I'm getting what's called a goober. That's a great big glue dot. And I have this foam stamp that has nothing on the back, so I'm going to stick that goober onto the back of the foam stamp. And this isn't exactly yarn, it's kind of a twine, but I didn't want to use yarn for this. So I thought, well, twine's close enough, right? So what I've done is I've taken the twine and just wrapped it around and around and around and around onto this goober, because this is a big sticky blob and it will hold on to that twine. And what am I doing? Well, I am making a tool. I am making a tool that can be used on my gel plate to texturize and create something interesting. So I'll get towards the end here. I'll just cut it off, glue the very tip of the thing to the edge, because I want to make sure, I want to make sure that it stays in place while I'm, using it with the paint on the gel plate. So now I've got my tool ready. I'm going to grab my gel plate and I'm going to figure out which ones I want to use. I've got a couple different sizes here. And get my brayer, get some paint, and start going to town here. So I'm using one just to put the color onto. I'm going to use this tool to pick it up with and transfer it to the other plate. And I will print that first image where we picked the paint up. I'm just going to dry that a little bit and see that there's some dimension there. But now I want to add another layer of color. So we're going to switch them around. Got this eggplant color. And I'm kind of forgetting what I'm doing here. And there we go. Finally, got some paint on to that 3x5 gel print plate. And I'm just moving some of that paint off onto this other piece that we'd started originally. And now I'm getting happy because now it's starting to look like something I want it to look like. So I'm just going to keep on playing with that because it's really kind of interesting. A lot of fun. And I'm getting some mighty fine prints. And I'm loving these colors together. It's kind of a peachy color with the eggplant, and then I'm going to add some olivey green in here. And they're playing off of each other really nicely. So just back and forth, getting my prints. Trying to fill up those pages. There you have that. And moving some paint from one thing to the other. So that is the yarn day. Next up is the vegetable day. Now, here again, I'm cheating because squash. Is squash a vegetable or a fruit? Well, technically it's a fruit, but you know, a lot of people think of squash as a vegetable. They serve it as a vegetable. So I'm going to call it a vegetable. And I've got this squash, pumpkin, whatever you want to call it, and I'm going to create some prints. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you're new to my channel and like this type of content, then please consider subscribing, clicking the bell for notification, and all that jazz. And if you are one of my regular subscribers, I'd like to thank you so much for supporting my channel, for helping it to grow, for all the kind comments and support that you give me. You know, it's the reason that I keep coming back and doing videos. So, from me to you, thanks so much. And remember to be kind, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.